I'm going to show you how to do a quick headset check to see if your headset's loose. So headset's going to be right about here. This is your head tube for the frame. Easy check is to incorporate your front brake. This is the best way to. So you're going to squeeze and hold your front brake the entire time. What that's going to do is it's going to lock this whole fork. This fork comes up through the tube all the way down, and then the tire is the extension. So we're locking the tire down, which is going to lock the bottom of this fork down. So if we have any looseness or play up here, we're going to be able to find it. Basically, we have two items stacked on each other. So we have the frame, and then we have your headset, all your bearings. So if something's loose, we're going to be able to see if something's shifting like this. This is a little exaggerated, but it's going to be a knock, a creak, a movement, a vibration. Squeezing, holding, and then putting fingers right at the headset. Over here I'm going to pinch. I'm going to pinch part of the frame and part of the headset. So the frame is the fixed portion that's not moving, and then as I turn the bars, there's a portion of the headset that's moving. In this case, it's the top cap of the headset, or we can go to the bottom to where we have the crown of the fork. That's moving independent of the frame. The frame is fixed, so you're putting your finger on both of those items. So if your finger is 3 inches wide, you're going to divide your finger in half and have half your finger on the fork, half your finger on the frame. Same thing up on top, so we can feel that displacement if there's any, and then just this gentle rocking. Not too hard. You don't want the tire to be shifting on the floor. You don't want to activate your steering and be going left and right. That's going to trick you in thinking there's a loose headset, but it's not. All right, so the first thing I want to do when you're loose, you're going to loosen up your stem bolts, or the stem binder bolts. Most likely you have two. Either you're reaching from both sides, or one's here, one's here. As far as getting your tool, typically a 4mm or 5mm hex tool. Loosen those. Could be 3 to 4 revolutions. Bolts do not have to come out all the way. Get them finger loose. What you did there is you just release the grip of the whole steer tube coming through the stem here. You release the grip, then you're going to go ahead and tighten the top. This top right here, that's our top cap, top bolt. This one's also called a preload adjusting nut or screw. This screw is grabbing the fork, so it's reaching down through the frame, grabbing the fork, bringing it up close to the frame, touching your ball bearings, taking all the play out of the headset. So by tightening this clockwise, and this should just be really finger loose, fingertips, very light feel. This is only by feel, so it's almost like a handshake. You're shaking very lightly, very gentle, or you're touching the wings of a butterfly, but real light feel. So right here, that's very loose right there. There's no resistance. So I'm going to go very gently, right about there. I think I took all my play out, and then from there I'm just going to do maybe a quarter turn, and then you're going to feel. Same thing, you're going to squeeze that front brake, and you can put your fingers here if you want, or you can just rock the bike forwards and backwards. Right there, I can feel it, and you can hear that huge gap. Some of these aren't that noticeable. So I'm going to continue, maybe another quarter turn or half, until that feel, that sound, the sound goes away. Still got some knocking, a little bit of play there. Another quarter turn to a half. Getting better. Slight knock now, barely, almost feels like a light vibration on my fingertips. Putting your fingers right there. You can put your fingertips at the bottom as well. If you don't feel it on top, put them on the bottom where the crown meets the frame of the head tube. So just a hint of a knock. Go just maybe definitely a quarter turn. And this is super light pressure. If I had to put a number on this for as far as the torque reading, we're talking 1-2 Newton meters. Okay, a little bit of a kind of a tapping sound. The feel is good. In my fingertips, I don't feel that movement anymore. What you could be feeling is brake pads in the caliper. The brake pads are sitting there kind of loosely in your caliper. Now that I'm holding the front brake and the tires locked to the ground, those pads are moving slightly inside the caliper. That's going to be normal for a lot of brakes out there. So once I got rid of this, now I'm going to come back, I'm going to give it just an extra turn, like a pinch for good luck. And this is just being preemptive of any break-in period right there. So maybe I can get all the play out. I can kind of assume, okay, after I go on my first or second ride, this might have a little break-in period and it might gain a little play here. Things are going to settle in, and you might have to come back here after a ride or two and give it another gentle snug up. I'm just trying to be preemptive with that right now, so it might be a little bit just past of getting rid of that play, keeping that tight. And then now you can go ahead and straighten up your bars, line up the center of your bar at the center of your tires. And then you're going to tighten up your two stem bolts here. And most stems will have a torque reading. It'll be like 4, 5, 6 Newton meters. When in doubt, if it doesn't say anything, most of them you can do about 5 Newton meters. Always give it a safety test. So typically I like to throw my leg over the top tube, so it's a little high. And so I'm able to balance the bike. I got my hands free. So once we're looking, you can straighten up your bars. I'll line up the center of the bar right down to the center of the tire. I'll even look straight down this way, and I'm looking for the sides of the tire. It may protrude past your down tube off to the sides. This down tube is really wide, so maybe I'm hiding the tire equally on both sides. That's going to help me center the wheel. And then I'm putting my foot down at the base, so you can't see that. But I'll put my foot down, kind of brace the tire as I'm turning the bars, so you can kind of assist yourself that way too. And then once I'm getting super close, I might just give it a couple taps, and then we're good to go. Then I'm going to tighten this up. This one actually has a Newton meter reading of about 6. So I'm just going to gently snug them up by hand with the hand tool, and then I'll get my torque wrench. Anytime it offers a torque reading, I will use a torque wrench. And I do recommend this one. This Park Tool is adjustable. It's an ATD 1.2, adjustable from 4 Newton meters, 4.5, 5.5, 6, all the way to 6 Newton meters. And you can change the bits. You open up the end of the cap. We got a 4, 5, and a T25. Actually has a 3 millimeter as well. So that's a 5 mil. And if you have multiple, anytime you're tightening multiple bolts, where there's 2, 3, 4, 5, I'm going to tighten one bolt just a little, get that play out. Go over to the other bolt, get the play out, and just kind of continue that. Could be quarter to half turns until I get to my torque setting. Cool thing about this tool, it will not allow you to over tighten. It'll just kind of give, let off a really loud click. And then once you get one, so right now that was 5, I'm going to jump up to 6. You can just go to 6 right away, but when in doubt, you could start low and work your way up, especially if you're doubting the tool is working correctly. So it turned a little and then clicked. I could feel that bolt turn. And even though I got my clicks there, I'm going to come back to the other side. Always double, triple check, because it actually, as you tighten one, it'll release pressure on the other, and it keeps going back and forth. So you're going to keep going back and forth until you get an immediate click right away. So that clicked immediately, and that clicked immediately. So probably took about 3 rounds, but that got it right there. And then of course you could just do another test, hold your front brake, and just do a little pushing. Here's the other thing with when you have a suspension, you don't want to push too hard again. Again, I'm using my fingertips to actually push the bike. And sometimes you got to put a little weight on the bike. So sometimes you may want to sit on it as well. Put some weight on it. It's going to put some weight here too. So if it's being really stubborn, there could be some looseness in here that's just a little hard to find. But by putting weight and then kind of using my body to rock forwards and backwards, it may break something loose in here in a good way to let you know there's some play in there. But again, holding that area with your fingertips, and then I'm just kind of using my body to roll the bike forwards, backwards, squeezing that brake. Never too hard. Don't want that tire to slide on the ground. Don't want to turn your bars left and right. So to make sure, okay, might have jumped the gun a little bit, but we're going to check for a nice light feel of turning. So I'm lifting the tire off the ground. I'm lifting the bike up. This is an e-bike, so it's a little heavy. So, and then I'm just using fingertips here to turn the bar nice full turns. Should feel nice and light. If we're too tight, you're going to feel a tight spot. You're going to feel grittiness. You're going to feel maybe a little bit of vibration in your fingertips coming through the handlebar. telling you that you tightened it too tight and we're putting too much pressure on the bearings. So you have a lot of ball bearings in there, you're going to feel a little vibration because we're just hitting all those little balls. So you just have to come back, lighten up. Could be 1/8 of a turn, 1/4 of a turn, until you find something. So if there's a point where you can't get the play out, say you still have play and the handlebars are tight, so you're having two problems that are kind of canceling each other out, then you have another problem. Either bearings are broken down, something's broken, something got put in incorrectly, missing a part, something weird like that's going on. So you might have to just take the whole system apart, inspect everything, and go from there. And if you want to do one last safety check, so if you don't have a torque wrench or you're out there, you're just going to take off on a ride and somebody said, oh, I just worked on my bike last night. Let's double check, make sure things are safe. One, make sure your handlebars are tight. Give them a hard twist. You could even twist your grips. Nothing should move. Handlebars should not slide, grip should not slide, but double checking that your stem is tight. So that's part of your steering. I'm just going to pinch the wheel with my thighs. Don't want that wheel to move, and then I'm going to see if the bar is going to break free. At minimum, you want to apply some pressure because everyone's strength is different. I just want to see a flex out of the bar. So I'm applying counter pressure to the wheel and then moving the bars so I can see the bars flexing a bit. You can even see the wheel flexing. All this is normal. If you can get it to flex, that means you're applying enough pressure, and the bar, if the bar is not slipping on you, then you're good to go.